Welcome to the Instructor How-To video series. This video will focus on discussions. In the shell that you were provided, you were given discussions that are used in the online classes. These are optional. You can choose to use them or not, but I'm going to walk through them so you have an idea of what they cover, as well as how you can edit and work with discussions should you want to add your own. The first one you'll see here is called I Need Help, and it's very helpful when students have somewhere where they can get assistance from their peers as well as their instructors. So you can choose again to keep this or not have this, but this is a place where a student could post a question like, I don't understand this assignment, I don't know where to find this particular thing, where is that in the textbook? You know, they can add or ask any kind of question there. They shouldn't be sharing homework or anything. So that's something that you want to make sure that you're very clear about. But it's a great way for the students to interact with each other. Maybe you're teaching another class. Maybe you're just not by your computer at that point or whatever. But another student sees that that is posted and they say, oh, I can help this person, and they can answer. And plus, it also then makes that answer public. So if other people have that question, it's available. So it's just like being in class. If somebody asks a question, it benefits everybody. So if you do want to edit this, then it's very simple. You just come in here and you go to edit topic and you can change any of the verbiage there. If you don't want to use it, then you want to make sure that you delete it because you don't want something there that the students aren't going to be using. But if you are going to use it, whether you edit it or leave it as is, you will want to subscribe to it. Why? That means that anytime somebody posts there, you will get a notification. With me, I set it up so I would get an email. That way, no matter when somebody posts something in there, they're still communicating with me directly. And I don't have to keep coming into the shell to say, gee, I wonder if anybody posted and I need help. I wonder if anybody posted there. So I see that email, I see what the question is, and then I can go ahead and act accordingly at that point. Is it something that seems urgent? Is it something I need to address immediately? Is it a bigger problem for the entire class? For example, someone might post there, hey, the video on the blah blah page isn't working. Is anybody else having that problem? I can go in and see if I have to do some technical troubleshooting or something. So this is the I Need Help discussion, 100% optional. If you want to use it, great. If you don't, make sure that you do delete it. And again, online classes, this does not apply. Everything that's in your shell should stay intact the way that it is. So then we get to the graded discussion topics. We have 4 that we have shared that, again, are non-departmental required assignments. These are optional if you choose to use them. We do want you to try to have one discussion of your choosing, one of these, one of your own, just so students get exposure to using the discussion tool. So that is something to consider as you're going along. We have an introduction discussion, which we in the online class use as our attendance verification. Rather than having them have to go and start looking things up, visiting websites, going on to the syllabus quiz and those kinds of things, we said, okay, let's just go ahead and have them do their introductions. It's much less threatening. It's easy. So basically, the way that it's set up is the directions are here for overall discussions, but the actual prompts are a separate page. So they click on this and it would then open a new page and it gives them the directions and their prompts and explains that they need to reply to 2 classmates. Now, something to consider. The standard, if you will, the industry standard maybe, is that you have students in a discussion, the way that there's engagement is that it's not I just post and I talk to one person. You want to get them to talk to multiple classmates. So at a bare minimum, have them reply to 2, but I've even in the past given bonus points if they make meaningful, detailed, useful posts to more than 2 people, and that gets them a little bit more engaged and they see some value in doing that. So it's really up to you. You don't have to set up your discussions the same way where there's a separate instruction page. If you want to know how to do that, contact Chrissy Leonard. I'll be glad to show you what you would need to do to make that look the same as we have here. You could just create a new discussion that has the instructions and the prompts all right here. The only reason that we quit doing that in the online classes is that we have videos, which you'll see in a minute, as well as prompts and additional reminders that they should be replying. So it got to be a really, really long read here for the instructions. So we just wanted to have the standard basic stuff here and then get them into the discussion to get to the details of everything. So that's the introductions. The next one we have is time management. This is a very, very popular discussion with our students. One of the things that we have them do is watch a TED Talk on procrastination, and it all revolves around the concept of a procrastination monkey. So they absolutely love it. We get some of the best feedback from this particular discussion. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like here when I mentioned that it gets kind of long. We have the directions here. We embed a video that they need to watch, and then we have the prompts, and then again we remind them about the two classmates. So if this actually was in that smaller print in that discussion area, it would be a pretty long scroll. So that's why we make it separate. So that would be the time management discussion. The study habit goal is based on the SMART goal model, and what they need to do is think about a particular study habit that they either want to improve or that they have not tried, something that they want to start doing. So for example, if somebody wants to start doing the Pomodoro technique, or if somebody wants to get in the habit of, reading their assignment in smaller chunks or whatever it might be. And they have to kind of lay it out in the SMART goal layout, and they have to think about stating their goal first, and then, oh, that's not really a good SMART goal. And they have to reflect on that. Again, we have a video that we want them to watch that is just a quick and dirty explanation, again, reinforcing the idea of SMART goals, and then some prompts. And you'll see it's a little bit longer of a prompt, but that's because 5 of these are what's your S, what's your M, what's your A, etc. So that's the SMART goal, your study habit goal discussion. And again, students have responded very favorably to that one, and I think that that's helpful should you choose to use that. The rewriting your scripts really revolves around the idea of making a behavior change, a thought pattern change, or something that is going to break a cycle, break a habit there. So basically, it's talking a little bit about the idea of scripts. It's talking about thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. Again, video that kind of lays the framework and then asks a few prompts from there. And this one tends to get a lot of very, very personal self-disclosures. So you might be surprised by some of the responses you get from this one if you choose to use it. So again, these are the ones that we provide to you. They are already in there. They're already grade items laid out. They also have a rubric tied to them, so that when you grade it, it's going to give you a sense of the, did they follow the directions for it? Did they actually have quality in their prompts and their responses? So I'm going to come right here and show you the, just click right here on assessment. And as you scroll down, you'll see it's 30 points the way we have it set up. And we basically are saying your original post and each of your replies is worth equal weight. And so if you look at the actual rubric that we have, the way that it's laid out is, first of all, do they actually meet the number of posts and replies? So yes, you did your post and you have 2 replies. Or did you do it, but you did not include the previous message? Again, we're trying to give them peripheral skills, not just answer questions about the discussion topics, but using the discussion tool properly. And teachers expect that you are going to use the settings or the check mark that you can that says include previous reply or include include previous post. So we want to get them in the habit. So it's just a small ding if they don't do that. It's 2 points. But you want to keep reinforcing, hey, I can't follow the conversation. I can't follow the thread unless you include that previous post. If they didn't reply, they only replied to one or did not reply to anyone, you can see progressively they lose many more points. Then you assess the original post. Did they answer the prompts and what kind of quality? And then for reply 1 and 2, it's the same criteria layout, but it's applying to the first reply and their second reply. And again, it will automatically grade them and up to the 30 points. You do not need to use the rubric. If you want to do it your own way, that's fine. If you want to assess each message automatically and calculate the score, you can do it that way. But as you'll notice, that's not checked off because we use the rubric. So again, if you do want to make your own discussion or you don't want to use the rubric, you will need to modify this and decide how you want to do the grading of that particular discussion. So if you are going to add discussions, delete discussions, maybe put some of your own, whatever it might be, and they're not showing in the order that you want, then you want to make sure that you come here and hit reorder so that you can see each one that you're working with on here. In terms of setting your due dates and such for discussions, I do want to just point that out because they are a little bit weird. So I'm going to go back here to edit topic, and I'm going to go under restrictions. And under restrictions, you're going to then see different kinds of dates. And one of them is an availability date, and one of them is a locking date. You always want the students to be able to see all of the discussions, but you don't necessarily want them to be able to participate in them. So you want them to be able to look at them if you're in the on-campus classes. We have release conditions in the online classes where they can't see them unless they've met those release conditions. But if you take the availability away, they're only going to be able to see it for that time period. So they would not be able to go back and look at a discussion from the beginning of the semester at the end of the semester if you have an end date, for example. There's no reason to have a start date if you are making it available for them to see, but they can't participate. So again, the availability really isn't necessary, but the locking options are. That's what allows them to post or to participate in the actual discussion. So you want to make sure that you have the date range that you want. So let's say you only do want them to be able to participate from, this Monday until that Sunday. You want to make sure that you have a start date and an end date, and you want to have it display in the calendar. In the online classes, we don't do a start date because they could work ahead and we didn't want to restrict them. So if you want to do that, you do need to make sure that you add that start date on there. So just make sure that that's something that you want to keep in mind in terms of your discussions and their restrictions. One other thing I want to point out is this hide from users. If you already did do a discussion or haven't done it yet, you could hide it temporarily. Maybe you want to work on it for a little while. Maybe you don't want the students to see it for a little while. Just make sure that if you do want them to be able to see it again, that you unhide it if you did check this off. Another aspect of discussions that you should be aware of under the properties is down here there are some options. You can restrict that they cannot actually see anybody else's post until they make a post themselves. We have that set up that way in all of our discussions. It's a good rule of thumb so then they don't just kind of copy and paste somebody else's stuff and slightly modify it. They do have to come up with something original before they can see other ones. But just again, remember that if somebody says, hey, nobody's posted in the discussion, how come I can't see anything that's there? You can say, well, did you post yet? And if they say no, well, that's why. There's 33 posts in there already, but you have to post first. What you may want to consider in the I need help one is making it anonymous, because sometimes people are afraid to ask questions with their name. So you could actually do that as well. So that's just something to keep in mind for some of the settings that we already have in our discussions, the way that they're laid out. If you did want to create a discussion of your own, and you didn't want to use one of our current formats, basically all you need to do is click here and choose New Topic or New Forum. If you leave the forum that we have existing, which is the graded discussions, that's the umbrella there. If you just deleted, these are topics, you could delete each one of them and you could just add a topic under then that forum. So if you wanted to add a new topic, for example, you would just click New Topic and you would create your new discussion. Here again, you get to choose. You could put it under graded discussion topics. You could say that you wanted to do it on financial literacy, and then you would write your instructions and your prompts here if you didn't want to use our format. You could then say they want to do a post before they could see any other replies, and then you could get into the idea of the restrictions with the dates. But you also would need to create a grade item. So again, remember that that is something that you always, whenever you create any kind of new assignment, that's something that you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to create a new grade item that ties that assignment to your grade book. If you have any questions about how to use discussions, work with discussions, set them up, please get in touch with our Faculty Innovation Center and set up an appointment with an instructional designer. They are here to help you with every aspect. If you do want assistance with how we have our current discussions set up in our shell, please feel free to give me a call, Chrissy Leonard, and I'll be able to show you how you can separate the directions page from the actual discussion instructions.